Some people mistake loneliness for being alone, and those are two very different things. You can be in a crowd of people, even people that you know, and still feel very alone, very lonely. And what is it? What is loneliness really? It's more about not being seen. It's very different, right? So I can be in that crowded room, but not feel seen, not feel connected, not feel like I'm belonging. So hi, I'm Julianne Price, and I am with Life Edit and Design, and I help you on your second act try to find a solution to some of the big problems like loneliness and feeling stuck, and I help you overcome that so that you can really enjoy your second act. I have a sign here that says enjoy where you are right now, and I find so many people in retirement just aren't enjoying themselves, and it's so sad to me. And that's my mission, is to help you not feel lonely in a crowd or stuck or just anxious about what am I going to do in retirement. So let's talk about loneliness. What is it really? So we talked a little bit about briefly was when you don't feel connected to a group, and that's very, very common. As you move into retirement, you lose your identity, what you were known for. You lose that professional role. You lose who you are. Like when you used to walk into a group, you knew what to talk about, right? You had people would first say, what do you do for, right? That's the first question people ask. And so you tell them, well, now you're like, I'm a retiree. How do I answer that? So automatically you feel disconnected because you don't know who you are anymore. You don't know what role you play. Are you going to, if someone asks you who you are and what you do, are you going to talk about your volunteering? Maybe, maybe not. But that's the biggest thing I feel, is that people just don't know who they are, and what they identify with so much is what they do for a living, and now that's gone. So you can feel lonely by that sense of, I just don't belong anywhere. I don't belong. Where are my people? I don't belong to a group. And you have to reframe that. It's a whole new way of thinking about who you are. And we've been conditioned to see who we are by the roles that we play. And so that lack of role all of a sudden means you're lonely because you don't know who your people are and you don't feel needed anymore. That's a very big trigger. Is when you were working, you had responsibilities, you had a to-do list, there was stuff that people were expecting to come from your work, and now you're not needed anymore. And a danger from feeling, number one, not knowing where you belong, and number two, not feeling needed, is that you will dive into responsibilities that aren't yours to take on. You might all of a sudden become the caregiver for either somebody older than you or for grandkids. And as I see this down the road, I have one of my neighbors, and the grandkids get dropped off early in the morning and they don't get picked up till after the workday. And I wonder, and for some people that is awesome. They love it. There's fulfillment. That's great. But for other people, they've just let themselves be trapped by that fear of being lonely, the fear of not belonging, and all of a sudden they're a caregiver for the children. And that's not your role. Again, if you love it, that's fine. If you're a nurturer, then I'm all for it. But for most of us, we're rulers. If you don't know your archetype, I put that in the link below. But knowing your archetype really helps you understand what turns you on and what drives you and motivates you. And for my connectors out there and my nurturers, maybe taking care of the kids is a good thing. But for most of us, you're stepping into role because you just, number one, you feel like I'm lost, and well, I have the time, and so you don't have a good excuse. I have one friend who isn't even going to retire because she knows as soon as she does, everyone will say, oh, you need to take care of her dad, and you need to take care of my kid, your nieces and nephews. And that's so sad because she doesn't feel like she can retire because she knows that's what will happen. That's what people will fall onto her. And that's such a big downfall of retirement. You need to be strong enough to say that I'm going to pursue what I want. You've done raising the kids, and if you have to take care of elderly people, there's other ways of doing it rather than giving 100% of your time. And that's a video for another day. But you really need to identify who you are in this next act so that you don't fall prey to the easy time sucker, the easy things that glom onto your schedule. That's not fair to you. You've worked really hard for this. And the fear of loneliness is not a good enough reason for you to suddenly give up this new identity. So yes, it takes some work. And I did another video, I'll put the link below, on why you would need a coach. And that's what I do. I help people resist that trap of letting other people take over their time until you're strong enough to fill your time with the things that you love. So retirement is not about kind of falling into the easiest role possible, which is that caregiver role. Instead, it's just taking the time to realize, okay, if I'm afraid of being lonely, there are things that I can do. There are very big clues. You know that it's needing a challenge. It's needing to be needed, but in a healthy way, not in a default way, the easiest way. It's like, who do I want to need me? Do I want to be giving to my community? Do I want to feel needed because I am helping people maybe learn how to read? Maybe it's a literacy volunteer. And I apologize, the mowers are right outside the window. But maybe it's you want to help people with overcoming some psychological challenges or their own social anxiety. Maybe you want to help people be comfortable in a room. Maybe something that you did when you were in your career was you were a great public speaker and you could lead a meeting, you could lead a group, you could lead volunteers. Maybe that was a skill you had and you want to be needed in that way. You want to help other people overcome that deathly fear of public speaking. Maybe you want to help people overcome being on camera like I'm doing today. There's so many ways that you could take the skills that you had and be needed in a new way that is inspiring and enriching. And that's why knowing your archetypes will really help you decide what is that outlet for you. How do you want to be needed in this next chapter that's fulfilling for you? And for my rulers, maybe you want to be a business mentor or a consultant in this next life because you have so much skill, you have so much to offer, and you want to be able to offer it in the right arena for you. And that's where I really want to get to you, is that the archetypes will help you. What is that right arena for you? You also need to take the time to self-reflect. You're looking for this connection. You see something is missing in your life, and it's the roles, the identities, but self-reflection will really help you to say, what you get to be anybody now. You get to reinvent yourself. So you don't have to reinvent yourself as somebody who doesn't have people. Who are the people you want? Who do you want to have connection with? Who do you want to have a meaningful relationship? You don't want to walk into a room and say, I don't belong. You want to walk into a room and say, I belong to this group of people. I identify as this. And so when you get curious, that loneliness starts to go away because now you're trying on things. You're trying on new identities. Pretend it's like a superhero and you're trying on your different costumes to find out which is the right costume for you in this next chapter. And that's one way to combat loneliness. Just get curious about who you want to be. And the other thing is to find out, like, how do you want to fit in? What part of walking into that room and not knowing where you fit in, you get to design how do you want to fit in this new chapter? Do you want to be like, if you ever walked into the coffee shop and there's always that one social person, or the gym, there's that one person that connects everybody. Like they just walk in and they just start talking to people. Do you want to be that person? Is that how you want to fit in? Or do you want to be the person that everybody comes to when they're trying to find advice in a particular area? Do you want to become the wise sage? So the social butterfly, the wise sage, the questioner. Maybe you want to become a coach as yourself because you have so much knowledge. Maybe you want to be the gentle mentor, the gentle guide going forward. You get to decide how you want to fit in. When you walk into a room, what is the role that you want to take to fit in? These are some fun things. Like I don't know what's the word I look for, but I feel bad, and that's not the exact word I want, but I feel bad when I meet people who haven't taken this from a positive aspect. Instead, they're looking at all the things they've lost. They've lost their identity, they've lost their role, they've lost their meaning. And I look at it like, no, you get to invent a new role. You get to reinvent your identity. You get to choose who you want to be. You're no longer defined by your paycheck and by the responsibilities other people put on you. This freedom that you have is a beautiful thing. And so they look at this loneliness, I don't know where I fit in anymore. And instead, I want you to flip it on its head and say, I get to choose where I fit in. Where do I want to fit in? Who do I want to be my people as I go forward? And then, yes, it does take work, and that's scary. Like meeting new people, for me, that's worse. Like I can get up in front of a room and talk. I don't have a problem with that. But put me in a room full of people I don't know and ask me to socialize, that's challenging. And I did a whole video on how to find the people that you can start to break down those fears with. Having activities, shared things to do is a very good way to deal with that anxiety of making new friends. So I did a whole on that. But, and again, I'll put the link below. You need to look at this as an opportunity. Loneliness is not something that is going to plague you. Loneliness is a inspiration, a motivation for how you're going to not be lonely. You know what the triggers are now. It's the lack of identity, lack of purpose, lack of usefulness. You get to now choose those going forward And that combats loneliness like nothing else. When you do the self reflection and start to say, well, I'm not sure how I want to fit in, but I'm going to try on this role, and then go try it on. And that's where a coach helps you to, number one, identify what that role is, but number two, to stick with it. The first time is going to feel yucky, but you're not lonely anymore, right? You're challenged. As soon as you become challenged, you're no longer lonely. It goes away because you're like, oh, I'm thinking, I'm working, I'm moving towards something. And so the people who are out there saying I'm lonely, it's because they're not challenging themselves to define this new identity, to define these new roles, and to find a new way of fitting into a group. It's such a cool, it's an experience, it's a privilege to get to do this. And that turns loneliness on its head. So if you're worried about that moving into retirement, or if you're already feeling that, I encourage you to reach out, take the assessment, let me help you. I'd love to help you, but you don't have to be lonely. Challenge yourself. Meet new people, find new roles. It's a beautiful experience if you allow it to be. So you don't get to use that loneliness crutch anymore. This video has shown you that there's a different way to go forward. And now I want you to really take that first step. So take the assessment below. I'm here to help you. Watch the other video on how to make friends if that's your biggest concern. Watch the video on being stuck and being too rigid if that's your concern. And I can help you. There are so many solutions. You do not need to dread retirement, and you do not need to feel lonely. Again, enjoy where you are right now. It's a way to live. That's the motto to live by in this new chapter. I'll see you soon.